Hello, Misfits, and welcome. Today we have another Reddit reaction video for today. Somewhat lightly Halloween themed, somewhat just nightmare scenarios. Also, full disclosure, there are apparently a bunch of fireworks going off at Emily's apartment. So, if you hear something weird, that's what it is. Anyway, I'm gonna pass it off over to her so that she can share these lovely stories with us.
Yes. So we begin today with one titled, I made a Halloween campaign one-shot that makes players work together. An edgy player took exception to this.
Uh-oh.
I know, edgy players, oof. For context, we did this over Discord during a pandemic, so tensions were already high. Whereas...
I don't think that's an excuse.
Really
that's so not the experience we had at all.
I know, I was going to say, completely opposite experience for us during the pandemic.
To be fair, we were playing virtually before the pandemic. We were ahead of the game.
That's true.
And then we just started playing more during because we needed it.
Not only did we start playing more, but we also dealt with a bajillion more server issues than we'd ever dealt with
My
before,
God, because everyone was getting on.
I know, there is a distinct difference between Roll20 before COVID and then Roll20 after. Or during, I guess is what we should say. Golly.
Our only tension was from waiting for Roll20 to load.
Ooh. That was the most tension.
Okay, so back to this. The campaign I made was a Halloween one-shot campaign that was made in the span of a week. The campaign was roleplay and puzzle heavy with a total of 12 rooms to pass through. It was timed for 6 hours because a vampire kidnapped the players and bit all of them. The vampirism will take those full 6 hours to develop. I made a Deck of Many Things Halloween edition with 35 cards. It was a funny deck with cards like turning into a pumpkin or gaining the ability to control bananas. I made this campaign with the intention of everyone knowing each other's characters and cooperating through each puzzle, but that was not really the case, unfortunately. The cast was me, my fiancé, Kiyoshi, our quiet friend Peep, our loud friend Alina, and our edgy friend Karma. I'm a college student, and during midterm week, I decided to make a quick campaign that was puzzle and roleplay centric while leaving combat to only 2 real encounters. I was the DM, but had a player character so I could better interact with the others. I was a siren cleric, Kiyoshi was an incubus bard, Peep was a dryad druid, Aaliyah was a bird rogue, and Karma was a homunculus spellblade. During the week I made this campaign, I made sure everyone knew everyone's character and quirks because the plot was that they all knew each other prior to this campaign. Everyone knew each other's things except for Karma. He did not take the time to even look at everyone's character sheets that were posted in the Discord chat, nor pay attention to what we said in the group call while setting up everyone's characters. I get it. Seeing as I am the DM, I should be the one who's required to look over all the character sheets, which I did. But I asked for everyone to also look over them and learn each other's characters because I will have them do a lot of role-playing elements. Okay, let's stop right there. We have that issue as well, where you tell us to do things and none of us do it.
And we don't do it, yeah.
Yeah, but it's to the point where, I would never expect you all to do it anymore, Right. I would encourage you, but, I know that it's not going to happen, so I'm not going to plan as if it has happened, I know that that's kind of shitty, but it's true. You just can't expect a large group of people to all accomplish the same task in a timely manner. It's just the more people you include, the less likely that's going to happen. We're teachers, we know.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
If you assign something and give a deadline, not everybody is going to do it. That's kind of a guarantee. So it's the same with adults. It's literally no different. So, now they did say that they had a group call where they all discussed everything though. So I feel like that's where it's all right, we don't really have an excuse for that one. Asking someone to look over it.
Sorry. Was this person just not paying attention during the group call? Were they absent? Like,
that's the sketchy part. You know, asking somebody to look over something in their own time and it not happening, sure. I wouldn't expect it to happen. But, like, having a literal discussion, like a real-time conversation about it.
Yeah, that's much more of a choice, it feels like.
Yeah. Okay, back to the story. We're in the first room, and Karma and Kiyoshi start talking in character. At this point, we started hitting some issues. Karma kept insinuating that Kiyoshi was a slut because of his race. On the very top part of the D&D 5e character sheet, if he even looked at Kiyoshi's sheet, he would have seen in big capital letters that Kiyoshi's character is chaste and modest. Yes, the one person playing an incubus and bard is a modest person who's not into casual sex. He played his character the same way. After a few insults, Kiyoshi talked out of character and said, "Karma, did you read my character sheet? I said he's chaste. He isn't a slut." Karma replied with, "Well, no, I didn't read any of the sheets. Didn't think I needed to." I said to Karma, "I asked you to do exactly that so you would know everyone's characters. Do you want us to pause while you look through them?" Karma just said no and continued on. In the second room is where we ran into more problems. I had an NPC who's a vampire spawn. He was trapped in the dungeon they're in for 2 months and he's just barely surviving. By 6 months, his vampirism will increase and he will become a full-fledged vampire. The NPC is begging for death by stake to the heart, but Kiyoshi decides to try and give him blood to prevent him from going into a frenzy around us. Karma tries his hardest to convince everyone to kill him. He even started yelling and arguing with Kiyoshi, but Kiyoshi refused and proceeded to give him a pint of blood that would last him the rest of the day. Then the NPC solved the puzzle on the door for them and they made it into the next room. By this point, I could tell Karma was getting frustrated and he kept trying to move off from the rest of the group to do other things. I ignored that for the most part. They're in a cellar and Kiyoshi picks up a wine barrel and puts it into his bag of holding. It was funny, but then of course you would need alcohol. Ugh, he's still insistent on Kiyoshi's character being exactly like an incubus. Whatever. They finish the puzzle, but the room is split in half. They go into 2 separate doors that lead into 2 pitch black hallways. The name of the game is Teamwork, as the only thing you can see is across the gap through magical glass to the other half of the team. My character was stuck on one side with Aaliyah and Karma, while Kiyoshi was stuck on the other side with Peep and the NPC. Pete made it to a secret door on their side, and inside was a mimic. Karma was shouting loudly to kill it. Peep ignored him and asked, "Can I be friended?" I told her she could if she rolled high enough. A 19. So now they have a mimic pet they named Chester. Shout out to all the Don't Starve fans. The mimic helps them the rest of the way through the hall, and we make it out too. Now the 5th room. Boy. It's a hall with many doors. Each person got something said to them based on their roles. The idea is that only 2 doors are safe. The rest are hazards. They have to decide as a group which door to enter. Then Kiyoshi pulled a card from my custom deck of many things. He caught on fire, which did not hurt him, just the things around him. So he burned all the doors in the room to the ground. In the hatch on the ground was a couple mimics and silver coins. There was also one thing that broke Karma from this party. A ring that turns anything it touches into gold. Karma wanted that ring badly. He said so many things to get Kiyoshi to keep it, but Kiyoshi picked it up with a banana and chucked it into the abyss of one of the trapdoors. Karma got pissed and argued back and forth with Kiyoshi until I had to break it up and continue them on to the next room. Nothing too eventful happened in the 6th room. There was an hourglass in the middle that would be timed for 1 minute. A button would appear around the room at random, and that button would reset the hourglass. Once someone failed to push it, the door opened to leave, and that's it. Nothing bad happened. Karma got pissed at me, but he had to shut up about it. Man, Karma just seems like really, really combative, right? Like everything.
Yeah.
Super combative.
Okay. So much reading. The 7th room. The 7th room was a banquet laid out for the players. The only catch is that they needed to all drink from a different glass that holds wine. One glass held blood wine, which would turn the person who drinks it into a full vampire that very second. The puzzle is simple. Each cup is designed like one of the 7 deadly sins. The cup with the blood wine was in the cup of wrath, which was made of a skull. I even had my player character take a couple of correct glasses and drink from one and gave the other to Peep's character. Everyone first reasoned that drinking from a skull is not a good idea. Then Karma piped up, "Wait, I heard a story about something like this." He went on to explain the origin of the 7 deadly sins and how it has to be pride. Normally, I would have agreed and changed the cups on the spot so no one would get the tainted glass. However, I thought everyone would have gotten this puzzle. Simply put, skull equals bad. This was an easy puzzle for them to solve. Kiyoshi tried to drink from the skull cup, and I decided the NPC will instead take the drink from the wrath cup. After everyone drank, the NPC fell to the floor coughing and choking, as that was the glass that would turn him into a full vampire. Karma was pissed. He started yelling at me over Discord, which was not intimidating at all. But then when Kiyoshi and Aaliyah tried to interject at him, he yelled, "Shut up," and continued to yell at me. I'm a quiet person normally, so when I raised my voice, everyone was quiet. Listen here, Karma, I've had enough. You can yell at me all you want for giving you a puzzle that I thought was easy. I don't care about that. You yelled at the other players for trying to help you figure out why it was the Wrath Cup. You've been acting rude this whole game, and now I draw the line. If you do that again, I will not hold back, and I will kick you out. He then muted his mic after mumbling something. We played the rest of the campaign with his mic mostly muted. At the end of it, Kiyoshi, in a last attempt to make amends with Karma, gave him the golden ring, claiming to have found it on the ground, which I approved. Instead of thanking Kiyoshi, or at least leaving the issue be, Karma then went on to argue about why Kiyoshi didn't just get rid of it. At this point, all of us were exhausted and just gave up on him. After asking everyone how the campaign was, everyone said it was great except for him. He said it was okay, then hung up. In a group call with me, Kiyoshi, and Peep, we came to the conclusion to not add him into any further D&D campaigns, as that campaign was great, but he was acting pretty horrible during the entirety of that campaign. About a week later, Kiyoshi asked me a question about some trivial thing and got opinions. Sorry, I read that wrong. About a week later, Karma had asked a question about some trivial thing and got opinions from me and Kiyoshi. Apparently, he didn't like what we said and deleted his and our messages. I called him out on it and said if he continues to abuse his Discord privileges and other bad things like that, then I'd be forced to kick him from the server. He then said, "I'll save you the trouble then," and left the server. I've known this guy for 2+ years, and now I'm pretty sure our friendship is done due to this one shot. Honestly, though, this behavior is not out of the blue for him, and I had a bad feeling that things would go wrong. And wrong they went. Now in my next one-shot campaign, I'm going to describe how his character puts on the ring and turns into gold. He was so obsessed with himself that he deserves to look the way that he sees himself. Shame there's no cure for being pure gold, though. At least, not in my world.
Oh my god.
No.
Oh man.
I
All
mean,
because of the Halloween one-shot.
I think it's a little weird to get mad about getting a puzzle wrong.
Well, especially that mad. Like, I can understand being frustrated
It's a
that you
Halloween
didn't figure it out. But like,
one shot. Like,
don't take
right?
it out on people. It's a game.
It's a one shot. Like, these characters. I mean, normally in a one shot, your characters don't necessarily carry over to future games.
Yeah.
Like, the stakes are pretty low. Like, it's fake. It's not real.
Not real.
So, like, what? Oh boy, I drank poison and died. Or, oh no, I used a cursed ring and it backfired. Like, what's the...
Oh
I
no,
don't
we
know.
were all kobolds and died when the house fell. Like,
Yeah, that was the funniest part about that one shot. Yeah, I mean, now we are only getting one side of the story, but like, he does seem super combative. I don't know how. Well, I mean, at least the DM put their foot down in the end. I do think, I wish at the beginning, when it became apparent that Karma hadn't read the other character sheets, instead of being like, do you want us to pause so that you can read them? I would have been like, all right, we are going to pause so that you can read them. Or I would have just been like, let's take a pause and let me give you a brief recap of everybody's character, you know? Instead of leave it up to choice.
I do wonder, even if the DM had said, you're going to read these now, we're going to take a quick break, if instead Karma would have used that as like a complaint opportunity, or like not done it out of spite, even when given time.
That's why I would probably instead just be like, all right, let's take a brief pause, and then as the DM just be like, all right, this character, here's a summary. Next character, here's a summary. Just take it through them myself, you know? I'm not super good at delegating, so if I want something done right, I'll just do it myself.
You do it yourself.
Maybe some other DMs should prescribe to that notion. I mean, at least until they've earned some trust.
Yeah.
Man, what a
Well,
mess.
Yeah, that one was insane,
Yeah.
right?
I mean, trust is an interesting thing to bring up too, because she said that they'd known this person for a couple years before.
Mhm.
See,
So you
that
would think that would be already there.
that was wild to me because I was just sort of assuming, all right, maybe this is just one of those pop-up online games.
Yeah.
They don't know each other super well. You know, they're using Discord. No. no,
They've been friends for a while.
Ooh.
Well, I mean, it's possible. My nightmare D&D scenario was with people I'd known for over 2 years as well.
I mean, that's true.
That's true.
And that was in person.
Still. I don't know. It's like just
Seems like you'd prioritize the friendship, I don't know, rather than
Yeah.
just getting mad at everybody.
I can't imagine ever getting that mad about a D&D game. Like,
No.
we've had disagreements about, like, way things were called or, like, things that have happened in a game. But, like,
yeah.
okay, it happens, and now I'm ready to move on and have my
Yep.
character figure out what to do next. You know, like, it's like in real life. You're going to have disagreements with people. You're never going to fully, like,
Yeah.
just, I don't know.
Well, and it's just like I can't imagine being that confrontational, you know? Like I just
That doesn't resonate with me at all.
not many of us are confrontational in our D&D group, and then especially the group of us right here. But like
You're so not wrong.
like it takes a lot for me to like get confrontational, and if I have gotten confrontational, you know you've messed up. But like I just can't imagine just yelling at anybody just out in
No.
the open in front of other people. Like
That's wild.
I can't picture that. I like man, it blows my mind that some people do that or are able to do that.
The audacity.
The audacity.
Okay, are we ready for the next story?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, this one's a nightmare scenario. DM disintegrates player with a cantrip because of another player's crit fail.
What?
With a cantrip?
What kind?
Get ready, it's a wild ride.
What kind of homebrew shit are we?
Right? Like, what is this?
Oh no.
Myself. I always
man.
suck at making posts like this, so I'm sorry if this is all over the place. This is a story from when my friends and I played D&D for the first time ever, 5th edition. Our DM was a huge fan, but had no one to play with and decided to introduce all of us to Roll20 and how the game works in the hopes of setting up a campaign for us to enjoy. Our game was set in your trusty, good old high fantasy world with a balanced party. Paladin, Warlock, Fighter, Rogue, and Blood Hunter. However, the campaign overall progressed very turbulently, lacking a balance of fair encounters, and most of the time, our characters would be utterly defeated by enemies at hand and constantly needed to be saved by one of his cool NPCs. This particular saving of our characters was what he called the training wheels. I was always rather annoyed because even when I tried to think of any plan or solution, nothing could possibly work. Literally, even the best case scenario of each encounter wouldn't come close to victory. I'm talking about surprise round, good initiative, everything hits, high damage rolls, and good positioning, and I still didn't see us winning. High-level DM NPCs would randomly spawn in our camps and threaten us just for fun, or for the fun of it, and somehow know our actions that we took in complete secret. I could go on for literally forever about this. As we were approaching a certain point of our story, he explained that this is it. Our training wheels are being taken off, and now we would be responsible for our mistakes. We were set to investigate a tower of cultists. We got a meeting with their commander, who promised us access to his inner circle if we slayed 3 manticores that were prowling his territory. This was a pretty ridiculous encounter, considering 2 of us, Fighter and Paladin, could do nothing to them as they floated in the sky, and he made them fly out of range of the characters who could even attack them consistently. What a fun way to play your first campaign, huh? Keep in mind, we were level 3, fighting 3 supremely intelligent and buffed special manticores somehow. Anyway, Our blood hunter was getting pretty banged up. They constantly focused on him with their multi-attacks, and he was nearing 0 hit points. This is when our warlock shot another Eldritch Blast, and the horror and nightmare began. He rolled a critical fail. Our DM made weapon attack crit fails break your sword or attack yourself, and for spell crit fails, he rolled a dice equal to how many applicable targets there were in range and made it randomly target one of them. The dice landed on the Blood Hunter and hit him automatically, dropping him down to 0 hit points exactly. However, the DM told him that he was dead outright, that nothing more was left of his character than a speck of dust and a tiny bit of ashes. You heard it here, folks. No death saves, no nothing. Another player's crit fail Eldritch Blast just disintegrated an NPC. He told us that dying to any magical attack meant that you died outright. But that said, to make it worse, no matter what the now dead player said, the DM wasn't allowing it. He did not allow him to make a new character and continue playing with us, because it would break continuity. He did not allow him to retcon the outcome, just purely for the sake of continuing to hang out with us on Thursdays and Fridays. Bonus, this one is for fun since it didn't end there, but our DM made us take a double maximum damage of a spell if we crit failed on the saving throw. This got our rogue to suffer the exact same fate a few sessions later, becoming disintegrated by an acid splash he crit failed on. Edit. When asked once about the lack of fairness in the encounters, he told us that this was simply what was in the adventure module he purchased and that we simply failed to overcome it because of our incompetence. I love that I looked up and both of you were just doing...
There's so much I want to say that I don't know what to say.
There is no official adventure module that would have that in it.
I know, right?
As someone who exclusively plays magical characters, what the hell? Like, I only use magic. If that was
you not
an
want
issue...
to attack, Casey? It's like fireball all the time.
Like, I would have absolutely just disintegrated my entire party if that was the rule.
Correct.
Man, there's a train coming.
We would have had no more party.
We would all be dead. Everybody would be dead.
Oh, yeah. Because we've all not one done a spell attack at some point.
Yeah.
But, like, Eldritch Blast... It's also not fair because, like, area of effect spells you don't roll to hit. You know, like, that's...
No.
It's not fair.
Correct.
That's a good point.
You know? And, like, you can't crit fail on Magic Missile. You know, I don't know. It's just... It doesn't make any sense. And, like, it's too powerful, you know? Like, I mean, Disintegrate... I don't even remember what level spell it is, but, like, it's a pretty high level spell. And, like, even that doesn't necessarily, you know, you get a save, you know? Mm-hmm. So it's, like, potentially survivable. But, like... Okay. Also, you died, you can't just roll up a new character and join us? Like, what a dick!
Like, just kicking him out of the group.
Retcon it next week.
What an absolute asshole! like,
I'm checking what level Disintegrate is. It's gonna bother me.
It makes me so mad.
And level 3 to go against 3 Manticores?
With, like, special...
flying and never in range of 2 of your characters.
It's like... I think y'all were level 3... when y'all faced 1 Manticore.
I think we were, yeah.
It's not, I mean... Ugh.
The part that really gets me of this story, though, is if you crit on a saving throw, as in, like, a natural 1 on the saving throw, you take double... What did it say?
Double the max!
Double the maximum damage.
What kind of rule is that?
So, if fireball's throwing at you, you take 72 points of damage.
That's fucking stupid. Right? It's absurd. I don't.
This almost honestly sounds like DM versus players. Like, that's just what he had in mind. As
this is
D&D.
Somebody that doesn't...
That, like, wants to play a video game.
He wants to play, but, like, he either hasn't read the rules or he doesn't care about the rules, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not something I'd be interested in being a part of.
Yeah, oh, me neither. This comment right here, I always love the house rule of rolling a natural 1 means that the universe spends time and space to kill you, rather than the actual rule in 5e, which is that a natural 1 on an attack roll is an automatic miss, but not a special super miss that kills your allies, just a regular miss. And a natural run on a death saving throw counts as 2 failures.
There are... Go ahead, Case.
I was just gonna say, like, I'm all for adding, like, flavor to natural ones. Like, make it funny, make it silly, and make something stupid happen. But, like, don't punish people for something that they roll, like, they didn't control the dice.
Yeah. Right. What I was going to say is there are tables, like crit fail tables, that some people play with, where if you get a nat 1, you roll on the table and see what happens. And, like, I mean, it's a very divisive topic in D&D about whether you should punish people for getting a nat 1 in combat. And, like, honestly, I think it's a session 0 conversation, you know?
That's what I was about to say.
Because, you know, if we're all cool with everything that could happen and it's all approved, then sure, that's fine, you know? It could be a really fun game if you go in knowing that your character's probably going to die, and then you hopefully would get to make a new character and keep playing, but I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, as long as everyone has discussed the fact that this would happen and this is what happens when you roll a natural 1 and everyone agrees to it, I don't see an issue with it.
Yeah.
It's the not telling anyone that's what you were going to do and...
Ooh, man, it's
hard
icky.
Pass.
Bringing it.
All right.
Hard pass.
Next one. Last one.
Okay, this is our last one tonight.
Alrighty.
Player thinks he's some high-level anime protagonist and TPKs the group.
Oh, God.
Oh, man. Totally picturing
As
like a
anime
Joker.
lovers, all 3 of us, I thought this was funny.
Can't wait to see what Goku does to this
Let's
group.
go.
Oh, if only it were Goku.
Oh, no.
Totally what I'm picturing.
When I was still in secondary school, I was part of the Dungeons and Dragons Club and ran a group which had already previously had a horror story happen, but those involved with that story had left the group, and one of their replacements was another student about our age. The thing with this student was that he was unhealthily obsessed with anime, to the point that he scared a teaching assistant away from the school as he kept referring to him as sensei, and even asked him about NSFW material. We were running Death House.
Sorry, I
This reminds me of my story that I texted y'all this week.
Oh, no.
Oh my god.
Anyway. Yeah, I know. It's like super cringe, like secondhand embarrassment. Whoo, dead. Okay. We were running Death House, as I felt we had new players. I'd be nicer if they were higher level to take... That was not a right sentence. It would be nicer if they were higher level to take on Curse of Strahd, and this one player has already caused so many problems. His first one was 1-to-1 emulating the protagonist of Sword Art Online. Same height, weight, everything. He also would constantly split himself off from the party, refuse the cleric's healing when he was injured, but complain every time he was knocked down, and even pushing another player into a spike trap. Once we had reached the end of the dungeon, those who are familiar with Death House will know that, spoiler alert, there's a mysterious mound of plants and such at the end of the room. The druid rolled high on a nature check and was able to identify that it was in fact a shambling mound. I let him roll a history check on account of his Outlander background, so if he knew it was a shambling mound, and he also knew it was dangerous. He once again succeeded and immediately warned the group that the mound was a very dangerous beast and they should do their very best to not try and engage with it. Hearing this, the Nightmare player decided the best course of action was to immediately plunge both of his short swords into it. He rolled appallingly low for damage and had now woken the shambling mound. The party was already worn out from the traps and other enemies in the dungeon, so they were easily knocked out in the mound's attack. When they yelled at the player for why he attacked the threat, all he said was, "It's what Kirito would have done." I kicked him out and created a scenario where the rest of the party had been healed by a cleric who'd found them injured in the street.
I also don't think it is what Kirito would have done. No. As somebody who has watched Sword Art Online, I think he's smarter than that. But
oh man.
The top comment is quoting "It's what Kirito would have done" and saying, "As someone who watched and enjoyed SAO, I don't think this guy watched the same show."
It's great minds think alike.
Oh man.
Oh man.
And then it continues, Kirito's whole shtick in SAO was trying not to do stupid shit and get himself killed.
Yeah.
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 Maybe he's talking about like later seasons.
Maybe. I haven't watched
Look,
them.
that
me
show
either.
ceased to exist after season 1 for me. So
Yep. Same.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that poor player just needs a different game, probably a different group. Yeah.
Not it, man.
And I mean, like, Death House does often kill people. We didn't run it, but it often kills people, and there are different ways that people tackle that. I know in one campaign that I listened to, if players died in Death House, they would come back, but they'd be kind of like undead and have some sort of quality or something.
That's
like,
cool.
One was sort of a zombie and had to eat like flesh or brains, and somebody was like a skeleton or something. Yeah, it was super interesting. So there's certainly ways to spin it. You know, I mean, having a cleric come along and heal him, that's not a bad way to do it. You know, that's fine. Man. It's
what Kirito would have done.
It's what Kirito would have done. Oh my god. Good grief. It's hard. It's hard to do with the I want to be the hero kind of player mentality.
Yeah.
It's rough. It's a rough one. Man. Good stories though.
Yeah.
Once again, thank you for picking these, finding these, curating these very entertaining stories. And every time I listen to them, I'm like, okay, we're doing it right.
We would not.
Because sometimes you gotta check. You're like, okay, what if I am the problem?
I'm the problem, it's me.
It's me, hi.
It's me. Oh my god. Well, audience, if you enjoyed these stories as much as we did, please feel free to like and subscribe, but more importantly, leave a comment down below. Do you have any spooky, scary nightmare D&D stories that you would like to share? I would love to read about them. Or do you have any different ways that you would have handled these stories in these scenarios? Just anything you want to sort of say and share, put it down in the comment section below. And with all of that said, I hope you guys have a great week, a great rest of your day, and I will see you again next time. Woo!
Okay, I just need y'all to know the fireworks literally just stopped.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
It's like it was planned.
Oh
very funny.
god.